Live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another segment of the Just Bernard Show here on my YouTube channel, my Facebook, Instagram, and all across the web. Anyway, so I haven't seen y'all in a couple weeks. Last week we did get to celebrate Lammas, but unfortunately I was a little bit under the weather. Thank goodness for technology, and I was able to figure out how to stream last year. So I hope you enjoyed it. I did watch it with everyone, as well as celebrating with some of my friends. So it was a nice time after I started feeling better. But anyway, so I want to forgive me for a second, and I know we had a false start earlier. I wanted to check and see the stream. It seems I'm having an issue with connecting with Facebook. Okay. Well, to all of my friends out there on Facebook, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, we seem to not be getting a connection. Maybe they changed their technical stuff. Who knows what's going on there now. But anyway, real quick, let me just send out the link to my YouTube channel here, and we'll go ahead and get started. We got a great discussion to talk about today. I think it's a really important one. Speaking about meditation, healing, and ascension, I can't help but feel that we kind of make it a little bit more, complicated than it really needs to be. Give me 1 second. Let me just go ahead and send out this link. Facebook Live issues, please watch on YouTube. Okay, real quick. Sorry about that. You know, it's always something with technology. It's you try to stay on top of it. You think you've got everything. You finally figured it all out, and then something else comes along. But that's quite all right. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? I'm so glad to be here. It's been a while since I've been able to sit here and chat with you. Let me see if there's anybody on the chat that we can say hello to. I don't see anybody yet. Oh, I see Sugar Venom Doll. Hello there on YouTube. Good to see you. Anyway, so let's start. Well, actually, no, I want to chat a little bit. So I am kind of, first of all, let me just say that I am going to be going on vacation at the beginning of September. So I will be having 2 weeks off. There will not be a broadcast for the first 2 weeks. With that being said, I'll be going into my third season of the Just Bernard Show on Facebook Live. I've been doing this for, 15 years on YouTube, but the official third season begins, third season for Facebook, probably 14th season on YouTube, starts at the end of September. With that being said, I kind of want to reorganize the show, the way it's presented, and as far as like the topics and whatnot that we talk about. In the past, on the radio show, I was known for having a guest on every week. When we first started the radio show, it was a 2-hour show. Then I reduced it to a 1-hour show, and then per social media, I wanted to shorten it less to keep everyone's attention. Hello. and we turn it into a 30-minute show, which has been great because I feel like I get a lot of information out there in 30 minutes. But I want to, instead of recycling old material or rewriting old shows, which is what I've had to do several times in the past, I kind of want to give it a fresh feeling. So over the 2 weeks of my vacation, I will be, I don't know, giving the show a little, tweaking some of the details of what the show is about and what I feel I need to get across to you all in this period of our history, as well as me as an individual, evolving at my own pace. The Just Bernard Show was named the Just Bernard Show because it was about me just being myself and sharing with you my process of awakening, of evolution, of magic, of self-empowerment, and of course sharing that information with you through having probably hundreds of guests on the show by now. But I'm ready to do something a little bit different. Nothing too extreme. I like what we have going here, so I don't want to change too much. But anyway, so I am going to take 2 weeks off. I will be vacationing in my home in South Florida, which is where I'm from, as many of you know. And during that time, I'll be communing with the beach gods to see what inspiration comes to me, and hopefully be able to apply that here on my channels on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and my website and whatnot. So back to today's topic. Today's show is called The Ins and Outs of Meditation, Healing, and Ascension. I was inspired, and this is my favorite type of show, is when I'm inspired for something, when I'm inspired to talk about something. And I was inspired to talk about this because of, I'm trying to find my monitor so I can see myself. Due to several clients that I've had over the last couple of weeks, dealing with issues, having a difficult time meditating. Not only through my clients, but as well as many of you out there posting on YouTube or Facebook, or posting to me how people are having a lot of anxiety, having a difficult time concentrating and slowing their thoughts down, thinking they're not meditating and whatnot. So I felt it was really important to clear the air on that, because there seems to be this idea that if I'm not meditating like 1, 2, 3, ... then I'm not meditating. Or if I'm going to a healer or I'm performing a healing, then if it's not done this way or just so, then it's not really healing. Or even Ascension, which has really gotten out of control as far as the fairy tale version that seems to have come across. And I mean that with no disrespect to anyone's personal beliefs, but Ascension has taken off onto this strange tangent that is just, not only is it unrealistic, but I think it's unhealthy for us to go down that rabbit hole, quote unquote, in that manner. So that's why I'm here today, and I'd like to share with you a little bit of my thoughts on what they really are and what they are to me. Again, this is just my interpretation, my experience of it. So I saw a few of you pop in. Let me say hi to Yahara. I hope I said that right, on YouTube. Oh, hi, Avalon, your old friend who's been on the channel for a long time. Good to see you. And Juji on YouTube. Thank you. It's a shame. I guess Facebook was never got connected. Anyway, so this is exclusively for you, YouTube. No, I'm kidding. So meditation. When we think of meditation, we have this strange, common archetype of shaved head monk wearing orange robes, sitting on a mountain, in a cave, achieving nirvana through complete stillness of their mind and of their thoughts. And while I love that idea. I love that picture, and it's definitely something to be inspired by, and it's definitely something to aspire to. The reality of it is that for lay people, for those of us who live in a Western society or even an Eastern society, in a modern society is a great way of saying it, that's far and few in between. That we have the opportunity or the privilege to be able to come to a space, to be in a space, and to elevate our consciousness in such a way for long periods of time. So I'll start with the hard part. For me, the hard part of meditation, or for me, the goal is the hard part. And the goal is to be able to slow our thoughts down, to be able to recognize the beginning and the end of a thought, and to be able to acknowledge that space between the thoughts, and eventually to be able to expand that little millisecond of that space between the thoughts, expand it and sit in complete stillness with no thought. That's the goal. And yes, sure, I can do it once in a while. Sometimes I get lucky during my meditation session and it just kind of happens spontaneously. But the reality of it is most people aren't going to be able to do that. The reality of it is most people that I know, which are adepts in magic or in Eastern practices, spiritual practices, most people don't do that, or they can't do that. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. So with that being said, I'll give you a case example. I have a client who had said to me that I don't think I'm meditating. And I was like, well, describe your meditation to me. What are you experiencing when you meditate? And they were like, well, I close my eyes, I take a few deep breaths, I try to relax, but I can't help but notice that my thoughts start running away from me, and the next thing you know, I have to reel in my thoughts. Or I'm attempting to reel in my thoughts, but I can't, or, something to that effect. If anyone is going through that, I say, good for you. When you are able to acknowledge that your thoughts are getting away from you, when you are aware of your thoughts versus just your thoughts being your thoughts and you're not even being mindful of your thinking, to me, that's what I call daily waking consciousness, not being aware of our thoughts. And what is it? These studies have shown we have something like 9,000 thoughts a day, or something crazy like that. Maybe it's 90,000. Needless to say, our thoughts, our minds are constantly going. I love the concept of the monkey mind. I learned about it in a book called The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Songyal Rinpoche. I hope I said that right. And the concept of monkey mind is our daily waking consciousness. Our mind is almost like a monkey jumping from branch to branch. Our mind is going from thought to thought to thought to thought to thought. What do I have to do next? Where am I going? Oh, that sounded funny. Do I smell something? Where's the cat? Where are the kids? I got to go to work. Tomorrow I need to do, monkey mind, thought to thought to thought. That's normal daily waking consciousness. That's common. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, it can go wrong, but that's a whole nother show. But, so to be able to acknowledge that the thoughts are monkey mind during your meditation session, I always try to I get a little lighthearted about this when it comes to that, because it's like the 12-step recovery program of we acknowledge we have a problem. Well, by acknowledging that your thoughts are getting away from you, you've done the first step. You're meditating. You're observing your thoughts. With that said, let me underscore all of this by saying there are many different types of meditation. There's Zen meditation, there's Buddhist meditation, there's chanting, there's using mantras, there's, a whole array of meditation techniques that we can use. I happen to ascribe to Zen meditation. Those of you who have been following me for a while know that I focus on breath. I focus on relaxing the body, counting my breaths and I count my breath. Why do I count my breath, you're asking? I count my breath to distract me from my thoughts, to be mindful of being in this moment, of acknowledging that I'm the observer of my thoughts and I'm the observer of life. So by counting the breath, I bring my attention to my body and it slows down my thoughts. I will count up to 5 inhale, one inhale, one exhale, 2 inhale, 2 exhale. I'll go up to 5. I'll take a short break and then I'll build it up to 10 and sometimes up to 20. If I'm lucky, by the time I get up to 20, I can go to that place between the thoughts where I can actually stop the thoughts. And when I say stop, slow them down enough to where they're not coming through. Another thing about meditation is language and the way that we approach it. You can't force meditation. You can't stop your thoughts. You can slow them down. You can take your focus and shift your focus away from your thoughts to your breath. You can shift your focus away from your thoughts to your heartbeat, to a mantra, to music. Someone had mentioned to me, is listening to music and just letting go a form of meditation? I believe it is. I believe it's a form of it. And I believe it's kind of like the first step. It's distracting you from your day-to-day waking consciousness. So by all means, yes. So give yourself a break. Give yourself a break when it comes to meditation. The only wrong way of doing meditation is not attempting to meditate at all. For me, when I meditate, we all have our own way, and over time and over the years, you're going to know when you're done for the day or when you're doing it right for you. For me, I'm very lucky where I start feeling it in my body. I can feel the prana energy, the chi energy moving through me. And when I know I'm about to go into that place between the thoughts, I get this pressure on my third eye, like something's pushing into my third eye. And that's when I know, for lack of a better term, I've kind of activated that pineal area, the third eye chakra, the sixth chakra. And I know I can start going into that place of silence. It's going to be different for you. Acknowledge how your body feels, acknowledge what distracts you. I used to be all about lighting the candles and lighting the incense and having Enya or something playing in the background. And I don't need to do that anymore. Yes, that helps to distract, that helps to alter your state of consciousness. But for me, at this point, I'm just breathing. And if you can just take a few deep breaths and quiet your mind, you're meditating. So give yourself a break. I just want to say a few hellos out there. I saw a few more people pop in. Hello, Edward. Hello, the magician. Oh, cool. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about healing. When I'm talking about healing, I'm talking about energetic healing. I am a Reiki master now of over 20 years. And I came upon the path of healing through prana. I had just started my quote-unquote pagan magical studies, and one of the introductory courses was an introduction to pranic healing. They called it pranic healing. And I turned out to be a natural. I think I've shared the stories with, I was healing my friends' migraines and their sprained ankles and all of that without really even knowing what I was doing prior to any formal training with my Reiki master. So one of the things that I feel people confuse about healing is that healing means restoring optimal health, I guess is a way of saying it. You're relieving the symptom. For example, and I'm going to use the most drastic example, someone who has a type 3 cancer, knock wood, anybody would get that, but let's say someone has like a type 3 cancer and it's terminal, whatnot, and you ask an energetic healer to come work on them to heal them. And what most Western thinking will do is it wants so desperately, because the ego wants that person to be restored so that person who's sick can be in your life again. And so we believe that healing is about getting rid of that tumor or getting rid of the cancer. Healing for me restores balance. I approach healing the way I approach magic, the way I approach witchcraft, the way I approach meditation, the way I approach my life. It's all about energy. Life is all about energy. I will use the term chi, for lack of a better term, but it's all the same. Prana, source consciousness, life force energy, chi, or ki, I'll say ki, right ki. A ki is the bringer of life. Ki flows through all things, and as human beings, we have ki that comes through us naturally. Keeps our heart going. It restores us. It maintains the balance within our organs. It maintains the balance within our emotional and mental nature and the way that we're feeling. And if anything, optimally, it is our connection to our higher self and to source consciousness, God, Goddess. That's on a very advanced level. But on a physical level, I believe that any type of illness, whether it be a physical illness, whether it be a mental illness, an emotional illness, whatever it is, has to do with somewhere in your body, your chi is out of whack. Most of the times in Eastern medicine, we talk about having energetic blockages along a particular meridian. So we work to restore the flow of natural chi energy to restore balance to your body. What does this have to do with that terminal cancer patient? Well, let's face it. As we get older, depending on our environmental aspects, whether you're a smoker, whether you're a drinker, whether you do cocaine, whatever it might be, whether you eat bad, whether you have bad genes, whether you're, 105, eventually the longevity and our ability to restore and create new genetic material and or blood cells and or muscle material, it begins to wear down after time. So no, we're not going to live forever. But when we're talking about chi and healing, when it comes to, let's say, again, I'm using an extreme example of a terminal patient, that the cats are playing. I don't know if you just heard that. Sorry, they distracted me. When it comes to healing on a terminal patient, for example, Reiki is not about healing that physical tumor. It is about healing the spirit of that person that may be transitioning. One of the things that I've come to understand about healing is that there are so many variables involved in the outcome of any particular healing. It could be karmic, it could be subconscious, it could be fate. In other words, we as the quote-unquote patient kind of decide what the outcome is going to be. The first thing I say to a client when I'm doing a Reiki treatment is I have them tell their body, to give their body permission to heal in the way that's best for them. It's almost as if when we're doing a spell or when I'm researching a spell, I will usually ask for guidance for, the highest and best good for all involved. The same thing goes with healing. If the healing is meant to restore a psychological balance, that's what the healing is going to do. If the healing is intended to restore you physically, that's what it's going to do. If it's intended to only heal your spirit, that's what it's going to do. If it's intended to help you transition out of the physical form, that's what it's going to do. It's a very personal thing. Now, again, I'm talking about energetic healing. So whenever I do a healing on somebody, I never tell them this is what it's going to do. I always say, at best, you're going to feel full of life and full of vitality. At worst, you're going to feel more relaxed. And it's the truth. It's up to the body. It's up to our individual path as to how that healing is going to take place. Again, my intention as a healer is just to allow that natural ki, prana energy to flow freely through the physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies, so that the body can do what it's supposed to do naturally, or the spirit needs to do whatever it needs to do naturally. Boy, I got a little bit carried away. I'm running out of time. So let's talk about Ascension now. Back when I first heard the word Ascension, this was probably those of you that have been following my channel for a while, was it 2007, 2008, I probably started talking about it. And I was basically, this was new lingo to me. I had heard of spiritual illumination, I've heard of nirvana, I've heard of all these other like Buddhist and pagan terms, but Ascension was kind of this like new agey type term that I really was trying to wrap my head around. And for a while there, I was, I guess, led down that rabbit hole of, Ascension. We're going to ascend to a place, the fifth earth or whatever the story was at that time that was coming, and that we won't need a physical body anymore, and we are all going to be telepathic, and it was almost like Atlantis brought back, and the whole planet was going to awaken and ascend. Well, in doing this work for as long as I've been doing, whether I've been involved with magic and the occult for almost 30 years, if not more by now. I've been involved with social media, I've been involved with activism and all of that for almost 20 years now. And in my experience, it's become wishful thinking. The idea, that version of Ascension. So I had to do some research, and I'm like, well, where did this term come from and what does it mean? And the gist of what I got is it kind of evolved into this new agey concept of us, and actually it stems, a lot of that is inspired through the book The Celestine Prophecy, which is a great book. I still use it as a reference, a great movie. I don't know if you remember the scene where, they become invisible to the, Sandinistas or whatever that were trying to attack them. And they didn't need their bodies anymore. They ascended to this, this place. That's not to say that that's not possible. I believe anything is possible. Of course I believe anything is possible. I happen to believe in fifth dimensional, trans-dimensional beings. I believe I am in contact with the emissaries of Light One, which are, actually I think they're like 11th dimensional, ascended light beings. But as far as Earth, as far as you and I on this human path and on the path of evolution on Earth, I believe we're a little bit further down the evolutionary scale, more so than we think we are. And you can see that just by opening social media and the way that we interact with each other, and the anxiety we all have in our lives. If we were so close to Ascension, there would not be so much divisive rhetoric and horrible treatment of one another, whether it be in our neighborhoods, country to country, or on social media. That's not Ascension. Ascension is merely, clarify it real easy, when, for example, let's say when I stub my toe and I start yelling at the door, you stupid door, that's me reacting. That's what we call low density, low vibration, exactly. But I can alter my state of consciousness through meditation to be at peace with everything, to relax, to be calm, and to be loving, and to be compassionate. To me, Ascension is an action. Ascension is, and I'm gonna use a cliche, so forgive me. I got to find a new term for this, but going from that low vibratory perception to a higher vibratory perception, that is an ascension, ascending through the planes of your own consciousness. Do you have the ability to ascend from a place of defeat to a place of victory? Do you have the ability to ascend from a place of deep, dark depression to a place of joy and bliss? Do you have the ability to ascend from a place of hatred, of aggravation with another human being on Facebook or YouTube, to a place of compassion, empathy, and understanding? That act from down here to up here is the act of ascension. When we do get to that place of being one with all, that's what the people call enlightenment, that's what people call nirvana. There are many different words for it. And I was actually going to talk about nirvana today before I did this show, or enlightenment. Maybe I'm not going to do it next week because I have another show planned for y'all next week. But even when we do, I've been lucky enough to achieve what they would call nirvana or enlightenment 3 times in my life. And when I say that 3 times in my life, it's because it's not permanent. It's a state of consciousness that, because I'm a human being on this 3D plane of consciousness, that I have to get up and use the restroom, that I have to eat, that I have to cover up because I'm cold, or do anything that makes me human, I cannot stay in that place of enlightenment. I must acknowledge my physical body and respond to the needs of that physical body. Maybe that's where the fairy tale of ascension and transcending our body comes from, but that happens when you die. You forget about your body. You don't respond to the needs of your body through nourishment, through keeping it warm in a blizzard. You die. So I think the idea that we're reading about ascension kind of got twisted somewhere along the way. But mind you, you are ascending every day. Every time that you focus on something better than what you're feeling, every time you can raise your level of awareness or consciousness from a negative, ugly, dense state to a more loving, compassionate state, you're ascending. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. Let's anyway, I gotta wrap it up. I'm so sorry. I was about to go off on another tangent. I'm already 10 minutes late. I wanted to, first of all, thank you for joining me. Now, next week, and we're going to talk a little bit about this 3D dense state next week. I want to talk about the magic of contrast. what is he talking about? The magic of contrast. In the occult sciences, one of the first things, especially when you're learning ceremonial magic or Kabbalah or something to that effect, and mind you, I don't go for that whole Kabbalah stuff, but I do love how I love the how should we say, I love how it describes and how it can illustrate, that's what I'm looking for, how it illustrates levels of human consciousness through the tree of life. Or I don't know if you guys have seen the emanations, the Kabbalistic tree of life with all the emanations. And of course, we usually have to learn that when we're learning the Tarot. But I think it's a great representation, a very simplified version of the levels of human consciousness, awareness, and perception. But I already lost my thought because I got excited about talking about it. Anyway, so yeah, I want to share with you a little bit about how contrast, how opposites, how good and bad are not good and bad, especially when we're approaching it from a magical way of thinking, a metaphysical way of thinking, and quite honestly, an enlightened way of thinking. So we're going to talk about the magic. I think I have the magic of duality, a metaphysical look at our perception. So this might actually carry on over from today's conversation. Anyway, I want to thank you, and please, if you enjoy my content, become a supporter on Facebook. Join me here on YouTube. You can become a monthly subscriber, I think for like $2.99 on YouTube or something like that. And by all means, if you like me, please subscribe. Just click that button, subscribe, and please share my content so others can find me and I can meet new people, wonderful people just like you. So I will see you all next week. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Have a good week. Bye.